how for God. God is the only reality. All else that seems real is illusory. God and I are one. Meher Baba. Avatar Meher Baba ki Jai. Thanks to beloved Baba and Jai Baba to all of you. We are meeting once again to read this beautiful book called More Conversations with the Awakener. And the chapter is The Book. So now let's see what Baba has to say about what is the book. And it's on page number 75. Yeah, okay, go ahead.
I wrote just one word, speak, put down the pen and began to laugh. I had wanted to write about what happened to me during a week when I attempted to follow one of your guidelines. This entailed recording a series of failures, some highly comical. A filmic procession of these episodes now flashed across the screen of my mind. I couldn't contain myself. I cradled my face in my hands and sat there helplessly laughing. Just then, there was a pat on my shoulder. Startled, I opened my eyes, turned around, and beheld you standing behind me, your face lit with a winsome smile.
Winsome smile would mean charming smile.
What's so funny? You asked. You are the cause of this, I said, trying to compose myself. Well, I know I am the primal cause of all, of everything. But what is the specific reason for all this laughter? So I began to explain. You see, I had resolved to follow one of your guidelines for just 7 days, and again I broke into laughter. And what? You prompted. Well, I must admit that I failed miserably. But it was also amusing to find later on how, with each failure, your words came back to me, pointing out my mistakes. And I would see how I had lied for nothing, how I had unnecessarily exaggerated many things to show myself off. I was about to go on enthusiastically narrating more of my failures, but you stopped me. Which guideline specifically are you referring to? Oh, sorry, I forgot the main thing. It was a short 5-word saying that you told me once. Speak only when you must. And was it ever fun trying to put this into practice? You smiled and said, so your attempts to become an honorable, silent sage turned you into a chatterbox. More or less, I admitted. How I am grateful to you for your words. They kept bringing to my notice how often I would poke my nose into things that were none of my business and how frequently I had offered unsolicited advice where it was of no interest. I could see how my own verbosity had prevented others from expressing their views. In various ways, you showed me what a windbag I really am, wasting energy and breath for nothing, playing at conversation as though it were a game in which to excel and prove myself.
I won't be reading the whole chapter again, the whole paragraphs again, but a few points that hits us, that many times Baba's advices we do not follow. We fail miserably. But even in that failure, there is some element of positivity, because that failure, wherever we have failed, it hits back at us that this is what Baba wanted us to do, but we did not do it. And so, in other words, although in a sense it's a failure, it is actually reminding us to be more and more powerful, to be more and more strong in order to follow Baba's advice. Here, again, you will see that the author was wanting to go deeper and deeper into what he was failing at. And immediately, without allowing him to go deeper into his negative aspects of failures, Baba interjected and asked him to come to the point and say, what is it? Which is that advice that you could not follow sincerely or properly? And that is where, you see, I was about to go on enthusiastically narrating more of my failures, but you stopped me. In other words, we all are a bundle of so-called successes and so-called failures. And we are supposed to focus on our success or the positive points in our life rather than to show off the negative part. Because most of us, many of us are very adept at showing to others or telling others how bad we are, how much of a failure I am, or in other words, how sick I am, how frail in my health I am, how poor I am, how all the negative aspects. So Baba doesn't want us to go or delve into all those aspects. Which guidelines specifically are you referring? And this is the guideline which Baba must have given him. What is it? Speak only when you must. And this, of course, is it's a very known statement that when you speak, you are only conveying or relaying to the others what you already know, obviously. But when you listen, then there is a probability that you may get to know what you do not know. Obviously, you may know what you already know, but there is a probability, there is a possibility that you may also know what you already do not know. So how listening is an art, and how listening helps us to grow and get and educate us and get more knowledge. So here Baba, he says, Morola, okay. You smiled and said, so your attempt to become an honorable silent sage turned you into a chatterbox. Many of us are chatterbox. We just want to speak and speak and speak and just spew, sort of vomit out, bring out all that is inside in the minutest of details. So he says, more or less, I admitted, how I am grateful to you and your words. They kept bringing to my notice how often I would poke my nose into things that were none of my business. Again, many a times we offer our advice, we poke our nose into things which is really none of our business. Only when things are referred to us pointedly, then only we are supposed to offer our expert advice or comments. Otherwise, just listen what others are saying. And how frequently I had offered unsolicited advice where it was of no interest. I could see how my verbosity is talking, had prevented others from expressing their views. In various ways, you showed me what a windbag I really am. Windbag would mean an excessive talker, somebody who keeps on talking. I really am. Wasting energy and breath for nothing. Playing at conversations as though it were a game in which to excel and prove myself. When people are gathered together, you want to just prove that you know so much or that your point of view is superior than somebody else's point of view. Yes, Rakesh, go ahead. Rakesh, go ahead.
Yeah, Baba. So this, this actually the word chatterbox actually brought something back to my memory.
Okay.
These days with so much, talking happening on the social media, and earlier probably I would say 2 or 3 years back, I would actually try and poke my nose into everybody. I'll kind of hold an opinion on almost everything. But let's say over the last few years, if at all I've learned something through Baba, then probably now if I want to, come in with my comments or interject in any discussion, It's more so that, I'm trying to get across Baba's words so that I feel the way it has helped me, they also get benefited. But I believe, it depends upon the other person how they take it or not, because I always quote, I'll not say it's my opinion. I'll always put in Baba's quote, undersigned Meher Baba. So still, would this also amount to chatterbox?
I would say no. In fact,
it is at times it is not even received very nicely.
That doesn't matter. As long as you bowl properly, the batsman, whether he bats properly or not, we are not concerned about it. That's how I look at it. See, our job is to convey Baba's name and Meher Baba's message to the ears of the listener. Now, whether they accept it or not is a secondary matter. Personally, I feel somewhere else I had read that the more we talk about Baba to others, it percolates into their psyche. And one fine day when the accumulation is good enough, it will sprout up and bear the fruits. It is not for us to know whether it has borne fruits or not, whether the person has received it or not, whether the person is, in gratitude or critical about what we are saying. It is none of our business. Our job is, as you rightly say, as and when you are asked or as and when you are needed to contribute, you are contributing. And even when you are contributing, you should not feel that I, as Rakesh, is saying something to them. You simply say, Baba, you take over. And Baba is speaking through you, and just say whatever you feel like saying in all honesty and sincerity, and then leave it to Baba and the other person. None of your business to know whether it has fructified or not in the other person's consciousness. You got it, Rakesh?
Yeah, at least the seed is planted. At least the seed is planted.
Yeah, correct. And you are not concerned about whether it will bear fruits or not. You see, and you should not even feel that you sowed the seed. You have to simply feel that it is Baba who...
Not at all.
It, like 2 entries are all crossed. You are not there in the picture at all.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I went on spewing for a hodgepodge of observations about myself and my experiences, and then, becoming self-conscious, concluded, but believe me, I tried earnestly to follow your advice, and I waited for your reaction. Don't be surprised if you come to find that most of your words were mere chaff. You replied, to converse well is to know well when not to speak. When you speak in a spirit of humility, in an effort to understand and communicate with others, this is not a waste of energy. If you are trying to bring a smile to an unhappy face, or if you are singing praises glorifying me, this is as good as observing silence. You paused and then asked, but what do you mean by the word earnest?
So here, very beautifully, what comes across to me is not silence as silence. You do everything that needs to be done without thinking that you are the doer. You are singing his praise. You are conveying, as Rakesh said, his message. Then that also tantamounts to silence because the I is not there. Now let us see what Baba has to say. Bal Natu ji says, I went on spewing forth. Spewing would mean speaking voluminous, worthless, just talking. Spewing would mean vomiting out in a sense. But here it means that you are talking incessantly, meaningless things, verbal diarrhea. A hodgepodge of observations about myself and my experiences. And then, becoming self-conscious, concluded, but believe me, I tried earnestly to follow your advice. Now, this word earnestly, Baba is picking up in the later paragraph as to what is the meaning of earnestly. Okay. And I waited for your reaction. And now Baba says, Don't be surprised if you come to find that most of your words were mere sharp. Sharp would means worthless. It is just worthless. You replied, to converse well is to know well when not to speak. So not speaking is a very integral and important part of conversation. That's what is coming across. I'll repeat this. To converse well is to know well when not to speak. But when you speak in a spirit of humility, that means one should be very humble, in an effort to understand and communicate with others, this is not a waste of energy. We generally do not speak with an effort to understand the other. We speak with an effort to make others understand what we want to convey. You see how what Baba is saying. If you are trying to bring a smile to an unhappy face, or if you are singing praises glorifying me, this is as good as observing silence. Because here you are doing things selflessly without the thought of I am the doer. Then if you are singing his praise or trying to bring a smile at somebody's face, then it is as good as silence. You paused and then asked, but what do you mean by the word earnest? Because the author used the word, I earnestly tried. So he is saying, what do you mean by the word earnest?
Earnest means being sincere, I answered. It means being serious, conscientious about whatever one is doing, doesn't it? You are just quoting the dictionary. Is that all the word means to you? Well, this is what I learned in grammar school. If it has another deeper meaning, please tell me about it. You looked probingly at me. In a certain sense, being earnest means more than just being conscientious. It also means becoming more and more aware of my being with you in your journey to me through the various levels of ignorance. Your quest should be to find what really exists, the reality. For this, you have to get rid of the attitude of I am doing this, I am doing that. Instead, you should try to feel that whatever activity you are engaged in is being done by me through you. You should just be an instrument for me to express my love for you in all the different aspects of life.
See how superbly Baba is now explaining the word earnest. All through the book and elsewhere, the focus is on you are not the doer. The I-ness, the egoism should be as low or at all absolutely absent. Absolutely absent may be difficult, but as low as possible. It is not I who is doing this, it is Baba who is doing through me. So that is what is highlighted here. But what do you mean by the word earnest? So the author is saying, earnest means being sincere, I answer. It means being serious, conscientious, that means governed by conscience, about whatever one is doing, doesn't it? Baba says, you are just quoting the dictionary. Is that all that the word means to you? Well, this is what I learned in grammar school. If it has another deeper meaning, please tell me about it. Now, what is the deeper meaning of being earnest in doing whatever we are doing? You look probingly at me. In a certain sense, being earnest means more than just being conscientious. It also means becoming more and more aware of my being with you in your journey to me through the various levels of ignorance. All of us, without any exception, are at various levels of ignorance. Some very much ignorant, some less ignorant. but ignorance. Because the truth or the reality or the knowledge will come only at the fag end of the journey. So here Baba says, it means what? More and becoming more and more aware of my being with you in your journey to me. All this, what our journey is to reach the truth, is to reach Baba through the various levels of ignorance. Your quest should be to find what really exists, the reality. In other words, at every given point in time, we need to understand, is this real or is this just a passing show? Is it just a phenomenal thing? Is it just an impermanent thing? And most things are impermanent. So when we keep on cross-checking, is this real? It is having a real existence? So here Baba says your quest should be to find what reality is. What reality is, what exists. In other words, rather than focusing on the form of anyone and anything, we should focus on the reality which is behind the form. And that reality is one. And the reality is the same. And that reality is Baba. For this, you have to get rid of the attitude of, I am doing this, I am doing that. Instead, you should try to feel that whatever activity you are engaged in is being done by me through you. You should just be an instrument for me to express my love for you in all the different aspects of life. In other words, we had done this earlier. In other words, we simply try to tone down our I-ness or ego-ness as much as possible and try to become effective instruments of reflection of His love and of His grace and of His blessings. Whatever that, as I had said once, Erak said, all you need to do is keep your reflecting surface as chakachak, as shining as possible, so that you are able to reflect the love and the grace and whatever that comes from Baba to you, and then from to you to through you to all those who are connected with you. So that is our role. And when we do that in all earnestness, that Baba used the word earnestly, then automatically and gradually our I diminishes and Baba becomes more and more pronounced. Yeah.
My blank expression undoubtedly revealed my lack of comprehension. You cast a gracious glance at me, which touched my spirit and intensified my awareness. Then you continue. Listen carefully. The feeling of I am doing this, I am doing that is generated by your I-ness, which is like a lead weight pulling you down into the pits of egoism. But if you make me the doer, your burdens will not only be lightened, but will become wings, raising you to the realms of my light. At present, your thoughts and activities are rooted in I-ness. This I-ness serves a necessary purpose, holding all your diverse experiences into a cohesive whole. This I-ness can be likened to the thread in a garland. But if I lose that thread of I-ness, won't I become hopelessly disoriented? I asked nervously. That's right, you replied placidly. Then, seeing my distress, you smiled gently. That is what would happen but for my companionship and compassion. By making me the center of your life in everything you do, it is possible to transform the thread of I-ness bit by bit, and yet the garland remains. As you become more willing and proficient in this, you will find that every time you give this thread of I-ness an earnest tug, it acts as an invitation to me. Then the I-ness you disown is transformed into a beam of my presence. Your simple smile makes sense to me, I responded, even if only a little.
All right. My blank expression undoubtedly revealed my lack of comprehension. Many of us are not able to comprehend, to understand, to assimilate what Baba is trying to say. In a sense, it is most easy. And when you try practicing it, it becomes very difficult because the I-ness keeps, popping in. And then that what we call as egocentric thought, how can somebody say this to me or do this to me? That comes up. Then you continue, listen carefully. The feeling of I am doing this, I am doing that is generated by your I-ness, which is, as we know, I, the limited, false, self-centric, egocentric, separative I, which is like a lead weight pulling you down into the pit of egoism. Lead weight, it's a weight. It is not allowing you to progress further. It is not allowing you to fly up into the domain of truth or reality because there's a lot of I-ness in it. There are many, many people who do many, many good things, beautiful things. And as I had said earlier, Adi K. Irani, Adi Senior Baba Secretary, when he said, on one hand, they are doing charity, they are doing all kinds of good work, they are doing, but that I-ness is there. And because the I-ness is there, the entire good work that they have done is lost. Because the whole point is on one side, you are having an asset of, he used this terminology of 1 lakh of rupees asset. And on the other side, you've got a liability of 1.5 lakh of rupees. So in the sum analysis, although you have done something good, because of the I-ness, that good is not really helping you. It is actually pulling you down like a lead weight. So here it's like a lead weight pulling you down into the pit of egoism. But if you make me the doer again and again, even in the discourses, Baba says, make your ego subservient to that of the master. In the discourses, Baba says, create a provisional ego, whereby you feel that before starting any work, you invite me into the work, you honestly and sincerely feel, Baba, come, it is you who's doing through me, do the entire job, at the end of the job, at the end of the day, offer it all to me, Baba, it is all yours. So in other words, nothing is mine, nothing, I am not doing anything. I am just an instrument in the hands of the divine, and let him do whatever he feels like doing through me. So Baba says, but if you make me the doer, your burden will not only be lightened, but will become wings, raising you to the realms of my light. In other words, it is not the doingness of things, good things, let us say, which is going to be looked upon as a spiritual thing, for the simple reason that even good binds. Katie, can you please mute your mic, dear? Katie.
I'm sorry. Okay, sorry, 1 minute. Yes,
no, never
sorry.
mind, never mind.
Sorry.
Never mind.
Sorry. 1 minute. Sorry, yeah.
Okay. So, we feel that doing good is good. Yes, in a sense it is. But that also binds. And that binding is very difficult to remove because we feel, what is there to remove? I am already such a nice person. I am already doing so many good things. What is there to do? So Baba here is coming across and telling even good things bind. So we have to do it in a manner as if I am not the doer. So here Baba says that if you bring me into the picture, then it lightens your weight. Not only lightens, but it will give you wings so that you can fly up at the spiritual realm. But will become wings raising you to the realms of my light. At present, your thoughts and activities are rooted in I-ness. This I-ness serves a necessary purpose, holding all your diverse experiences in a cohesive whole. Now, this is important to understand that the I-ness, the ego, is a necessary gound. Gound means glue, gum you call it, in order to keep as a cohesive whole all our experiences. This ego is a very important thing, because we have come all the way from the gaseous state, and all our actions otherwise would be scattered. You see, all our samskaras would be scattered here and there. So the I-ness is like a thread on which all the flowers, garland are. When you make a garland, there's a thread. There are all kinds of different flowers and leaves and everything. So that is the thread. So it is the thread which keeps all the flowers intact. So in the same way, the I-ness was at one point in time necessary to have all our samskaras as a cohesive whole. Otherwise, it would just be scattered. So I-ness is necessary. But gradually, the I-ness has to be diminished, and in its place, Baba's presence has to be brought. And that is why the author now is saying that if I remove the I-ness, then all the flowers will be shattered. It will all be scattered here and there. Then how can you call it a garland? That is when Baba is explaining so beautifully. See here it says, this I-ness serves a necessary purpose, holding all your diverse experiences into a cohesive whole, oneness. This I-ness can be likened to the thread in a garland. But if I lose that thread of I-ness, now the author is saying, if I lose that thread, then what will I be? It will all be scattered. But if I lose that thread of I-ness, won't I become hopelessly disoriented? There is no cohesive oneness. What will I call that I? That it is all scattered. I asked nervously. Now Baba says, that's right. You replied placidly. Placidly here would mean calmly, in a very calm and composed manner. Oh yes, what you're saying is right. That's right. Then, seeing my distress, you smiled gently. That is what would happen. But for my companionship, it would happen. But because of my companionship, the cohesive whole will remain, and gradually your I-ness will go, and it will be replaced by my-ness. That means the divinity. So here Baba says that, yes, that is what would happen, but for my companionship and compassion. By making me the center of your life, in every day you do, in everything you do, it is possible to transform the thread of I-ness bit by bit, and yet the garland remains. That means the thread of egoism, I-ness, will gradually recede. It will be transformed, and I will take that place. And the garland will remain. Your body will remain. Your cohesive oneness will remain. You will not be scattered, but there will be no ego in that. Bit by bit, and yet the garland remains. And you become more willing and proficient. As you become more willing and proficient in this, the word here is willing. We should become more and more willing to allow Baba's participation in our life. It is our willingness. If we do not allow Baba to participate, he will just better luck next life or some 100 lives hereafter. So as we become more and more willing and proficient in this, you will find that every time you give this thread of I-ness, that means the ego, an earnest tug, that means you are tugging it, you are breaking that I-ness, tug. It acts as an invitation to me. That means the more you try to reduce your ego by giving a tug to that I-ness, it would mean to me that you are inviting me to participate in your life. An earnest tug, it acts as an invitation to me. then the I-ness you disown is transformed into a beam, a ray of my presence. That means the thread will go and a ray or a beam of my presence will take its place. The ego will go and the divine presence will take its place. You smiled.
Your simple simile makes sense to me, I responded, even if only a little. Good. You look genuinely happy that I had absorbed at least a small part of your explanation. Whatever you do it wholeheartedly, but without claiming the results as your own, whether good or bad. Then the responsibility for your actions devolves on me. You must long to lose your I-ness and become more and more aware of my presence flowing continually in you and through you.
Again, we are in a sense focusing on one thing. Whatever we do, think and feel honestly and sincerely, it is Baba who is doing through me. And the proof of the pudding is in the eating, which means that whatever the result comes, it is as per God's will, as per Baba's will. And we are neither elated and we are not celebrating the results, nor are we brooding about the results if it doesn't come to our liking. In other words, be in a detached, equanimous or equipoised way. Do it and forget about the results. So your Baba says, whatever you do it wholeheartedly, not half-heartedly, not quarter-heartedly. Do it wholeheartedly, but without claiming the results as your own. Don't claim, oh, I did this, whether good or bad. Then the responsibility for your actions devolves on me. You must long to lose your I-ness. I repeat, you must long. We have to have a longing to lose our I-ness, our ego. That is the way, that is in a sense, that's a negative way of losing the I-ness. A more positive way would be, we must long to invite Baba as participant in our life, as doing it, as living his life through us. So here Baba says, you must long to lose your I-ness and become more and more aware of my presence flowing continually in you and through you. This is important. It is not just in you and then bottleneck, block, not flowing out. In you and through you. That should be the experience all the time. It is Baba who is flowing in me and through me. I am not present. It is his presence. I, the I-ness, the egocentric I is absent. Go ahead.
The discussion had moved to too high a level. This is all very enlightening, I said, but I'm afraid it's beyond me. You understood my helplessness and immediately changed your tone. Well then, you said cheerfully, what else would you like to talk about? I don't know. My head is still spinning. I would like to understand the deeper levels of life, and more than that, to really live them by discarding I-ness. Your words sparkle with such refreshing clarity, blending profundity and simplicity. But just now, a thought is knocking on the door of my mind with some urgency. A look of amused suspicion crossed your face. Are you leading up to some special question? If you are, go ahead and ask. So I opened my heart and my mouth to you. Actually, I had been wanting to ask you something for quite some time. What? I would like to request that you write a book. There should be some chapters elucidating the theme of life, followed by some important guidelines. I'm sure that such a book would enlighten many people and help them with their problems. Wouldn't this make you happy? I said all of this in one breath, lest you skillfully distract me. You chuckled. But my dear fellow, don't you know that I have already written that book? Don't make fun of my suggestion. I really mean it. I'm telling you the truth. It's hard for me to believe what you said. You read my look of my look of skepticism and added, you are free to think what you like. Then let me know the title of the book. I rejoined, thinking to catch you.
That will be a suspense. All right. So here, the author feels that what you have been talking is just too much for me. And if you really look at anything which is real, it is equally simple and equally difficult. I remember again Adi K. Irani, because he used to keep coming to our center and give a talk, and when he had gone abroad, somebody said that, oh, Baba has given so many instructions and it is so difficult. So Adi said, and there's a lot of truth in that, that any of Baba's dictates or orders or messages, if you really take it to heart, who has given the dictate or the discourse or whatever the order or message? It is God himself. There can be nobody higher than him, better than him to tell what is to be done. Then if God is asking you to do a certain thing, all you need to do is just decide, I'll do it. There's no question of debating and discussing and that kind. So in other words, once you decide to do, it is extremely, extremely simple. But if we are still in that zone of doing with convenience, okay, this I will do, but this I will not do, then it becomes difficult. So in other words, whatever Baba says is equally difficult and equally simple. It is so simple that we find it most difficult. It's like that. So here Bal Natuji says that whatever you said is fine, but it's just going above my head, Although it is really so simple. All that we need to do is honestly think, feel, and believe that it is Baba who is doing everything through me. Honestly. And then it doesn't mean that you won't put your best, your ability, your capability, your wholeheartedness, etc., etc. It is just that we are inviting him, and it is just that we are detached with the results. That's all, as simple as that. The moment you are detached with the results, it doesn't shake you at all in any which way, because it doesn't really matter to you. It is his job, it is his work. But here, Bal Natuji says, too much, now tell me something else. So here he says, a look of amused suspicion crossed your face. Are you leading up to some special question? Because he said that some thought is knocking at the door of my mind. So I have been wanting to ask you. And what is it that he's asking? He's saying, okay, so I open my heart and my mouth to you. Actually, I have been wanting to ask you something for quite some time. What? I would like to request you to write a book. Now we all know that Baba has already written a book and nobody knows where it is. It's all Baba's trick. And Baba had said that this is the book of the heart, that it is not a physical book, it is something quite different. But anyway, without going into that direction, there should be some chapters. Now he is advising the Lord what should be written in the book. Elucidating, that means listing out or making very clear, lucidly, the theme of life. What is the theme of life? Followed by some important guidelines. I am sure that such a book would enlighten many people and help them with their problems. Wouldn't this make you happy? I said all of this in one breath, lest you skillfully distract me. Baba has been very skillful in distracting people, and this has been the trait of all the masters. Just a thought passing by, I'll just complete the thought in a minute, that Shirin Mai, Baba's mother Shirin Mai, would be so furious and with a lot of thoughts and anger and, a lot of energy, she would go to Upasni Maharaj or she would go to Hazrat Baba Jan to fight with them and say, why are you spoiling my son? Why are you keeping him with you? Well, he's my son. Why? And the moment she goes there, very skillfully, they would ask some questions, they would talk something totally out of the blue, and Shirin Mai would lose the track of why she came there. And then bidding them farewell, she would return. And only after she sits back in the train, she realizes, oh my God, I had gone there to fight with them. And what have they done? These old men and old women, they are very tricky. They are so tricky that they always distract you and they will not allow you to convey what you have gone for. So this is what I thought. Anyway, you chuckled, but my dear fellow, don't you know that I have already written that book? Don't make fun of my suggestion. I really mean it. Baba says, I am telling you the truth. It was hard for me to believe what you said. You read my skepticism and asked, you are free, sorry, and added, you are free to think what you like. Again, I like this sentence. Many times you say certain things with all sincerity and honesty, and other people are very skeptical about it. They don't accept it. They don't think well about that. So this is a sentence which will do good for all of us. Baba says, you are free to think what you like. Many times we say certain things. It is misinterpreted by the other person. So one of my favorite sentences is, I am responsible for what I said. I am not responsible for what you think I said or what you make out of it. So in other words, Baba is saying, you are free to think whatever you feel about it. Then let me know the title of the book. He's asking. I rejoined, means I replied immediately, thinking to catch you. Now tell me, what is the title of the book? You said you already written. So Baba is now responding.
You answered in a clear, even tone. Heart speaks. And it is placed in every individual's heart. Isn't that a good title and a good place to keep? What do you think? And you winked at me.
The book's name is Heart Speaks. Baba speaks in our heart.
Fumbling for my answer and at the same time trying to play along with your joke, I replied, I will grant that you have delivered the book right into my heart, but you have not given me the sight to read it. When longing becomes intense, then of itself it turns into an eye, and the words of the book become visible to it. Gradually, the eye of discrimination and the eye of intuition will open, and you will be able to read the book Heart Speaks, and slowly your eye-ness will be transformed by earnestly offering your thoughts, words, and deeds to me, and you will experience that I am ever more present in your life.
Such a profound paragraph, a very deep and profound paragraph. Baba says, I've already written the book. The book's title is Heart Speaks, and I've placed it in each individual's heart. The author tries to become a little smarter and says, Baba, yes, you have placed it in my heart, but I can't read it. How can I read it? I don't know how to read it. How do I make use of that book? So now Baba says, and hear it well. When longing becomes intense, longing to know the truth, longing to know the reality, longing to know who am I. When longing becomes intense, then of itself, nothing to be brought from outside, of itself, it turns into an I. The longing of itself turns into an I. And the words of the book become visible to it. This is not a physical book. The longing transforms itself into an I, and the I is able to read the wordings of that book. Gradually, the eye of discrimination, what is right, what is wrong, what is good, what is bad, of course in the domain of illusion, so-called good, so-called bad, what serves me, what is of service to me, what is of disservice to me, what makes Baba happy, what makes Baba not so happy. So that is the meaning of discrimination, of discernment. The eye of discrimination and the eye of intuition will open. Intuition, tuition from within, voice from within, telling you what to do from within. The eye of intuition will open and you will be able to read the book Heart Speaks. I would like to read these 4 lines again because they are very profound. When Bal Natu ji says, okay, you put the book in my heart, fine, but you have not given me the eyes to read it. How will I read it? So Baba says, when longing becomes intense, then of itself, it turns into an eye. And the words of the book become visible to it. Gradually, the eye of discrimination and the eye of intuition will open and you will be able to read the book Heart Speaks. And slowly, your I-ness will be transformed by earnestly offering your thoughts, words, and deeds to me. And you will experience that I am ever more present in your life. So that is the key, that is the clue, that is the cue of how we can read the book Heart Speaks, which Baba has placed into each of our hearts.
With deep gratitude, I said, so what really matters is that I try to be aware of you being the only doer, and that I learn to lean on you more and more to release me from my I-ness while doing everything, anything, anytime. I look imploringly at you. I am sure you will help me in my earnest efforts. Please prepare me to act as your instrument, but don't make it too difficult. And I smiled. This seemed to please you. You stood up to leave. In mute adoration, I gazed at you and our eyes met. Before leaving, you placed your hand over my heart. What joy came over me at that moment, I cannot describe. Was this gesture clearing a direct path to my heart where the book of love and light waits to be seen and read? Then it came to me that this book is not meant to be read, but to be listened to and felt in one's heart. Its script is longing and its language is love. Heart speaks.
So that's the end of the chapter. I would like to read the last few lines. So Baba says that once you create the longing of knowing the truth by not being seduced by illusion, so to speak, by really knowing what is the truth, what is the reality, always trying to weigh the truth and the illusion and taking the side of the truth, then you will be able to open your eyes and you'll be able to get the guidance intuitively and you'll be able to follow them. With deep gratitude, I said, so what really matters is that I try to be aware of you being the only doer, and that I learn to lean on you more and more to release me from my I-ness while doing everything, anything, anytime. In other words, the author is asking, does it mean that whilst I am doing anything or everything or anytime I am doing anything, I must take it that it is you who is the doer within me? Is that what you are saying? This is what I have understood. This is what I have learned. I looked imploringly, like beseeching, begging, earnestly, eagerly. I looked imploringly at you. I am sure you will help me in my earnest effort. Please prepare me to act as your instrument, but don't make it too difficult. And I smiled. So here what we all are expected to do is to implore Baba, to beg of him to make us worthy instrument so that we allow him to do and fulfill his divine plan in us and through us. So that should be our prayer all the time. Rather than praying and asking for give me this, give me that, money, success, wealth, name, fame, and all that, we have to implore him, we have to beg of him, we have to ask him to make us a very fit, fine, well-tuned instrument so that he can play his divine orchestra through us. If we are just one instrument, there are millions of instruments, and if we are fine-tuned, then to that extent, his orchestra is well tuned, so to speak. This seemed to please you. That means our imploring Baba to make us a worthy instrument seemed to please Baba. You stood up to leave in mute adoration without speaking anything. In mute adoration, I gazed at you and our eyes met. Before leaving, you placed your hand over my heart. What joy came over me at that moment, I cannot describe. People who have felt Baba's physical touch, people who have felt Baba's embrace, people who have bowed down to Baba's feet, all of them experience a very mixed combination, of softness, absolute softness, like cloud, how soft he is. And at the same time, the strength of his being. When he embraced people, the softness was also there and the strength was also there. It was not lifeless. It was having a lot of vibrancy, potency, and life in that. So here, you placed your hand over my heart. What joy came over me at that moment, I cannot describe. Was this gesture, that means placing your heart over my heart region, your hand over my heart region. He's saying, was this gesture clearing a direct path to my heart where the book of love and light wants to be seen and read? Waits to be seen and read. He's just asking whether this sign of yours, your hand touching my heart, does it mean that now you are clearing the path for me to be able to read that book which you have written? And then he himself said, then it came to me that this book is not meant to be read. This is not meant to be read actually. Like Baba says in God Speaks, that God is not to be discussed, God not to be theorized, not to be, like explained in all that. He is to be loved and he is to be lived in our day-to-day life. So he says it is not meant to be read, but to be listened to and felt in one's heart. We have to feel Baba's book in our heart. Its script. What is the script? The script of that book is longing and its language is love. Heart speaks. So that is the end of this beautiful chapter, where once again the theme, which is the thread underlying most of the chapters, is that I do not exist. Really speaking, it is only God who is existing. And what is required is the awareness of that only God is real. God is the only existence, and that if I think that I am existing, it is an ignorant thinking. And the more we become aware of his only existence and his being within us and doing things through us, the less we become in terms of I-ness, in terms of egoism. And the more he comes, in short, he becomes him within us. That's how I would look at it. Any questions to ask? 6:30 sharp. Nobody has anything to ask, anything to convey. Lovely. Thank you, Baba. And may we all pray to Baba to make us efficient and effective instrument in his hands so that he can accomplish his divine will through each of us. Amen. Thank you, Baba. Avatar Meher Baba ki jai. Thank you, beloved Baba. Thank you, Baba. Jai Baba. Jai Baba.
Jai Meher Baba. Jai
Yeah,
Meher
Baba.
Baba. Jai Meher Baba.
Thank you.